Hey friends, Sean from SGT Report here with a very important news update. I want to play a clip for you from TMZ, which I think is very, very telling about how spiritual warfare is ramping up in ways absolutely unimaginable just a decade ago. Have you heard of Billie Eilish? She's the 17-year-old phenom, according to the mainstream media. The New York Times has said, not your typical 17-year-old pop star. Get used to her, with Billboard calling her the new model for streaming-era success, and Rolling Stone anointing her rise as the triumph of the weird. Weird indeed. Her new song, All Good Girls Go to Hell, begins like this.
My Lucifer is lonely.
And the unofficial video on YouTube showing the lyrics while the song plays has 8.5 million views and 101,000 likes. And the refrain from the song goes like this. All good girls go to hell, 'cause even God herself has enemies. And once the water starts to rise and heaven's out of sight, she'll want the devil on her team. Friends, the battle between good and evil for the soul of our culture is reaching a fevered pitch. TMZ reported about the making of the official video for that song, and their report began like this.
Billie Eilish was covered in black sludge and feathers for a music video that looked like it was from hell. This is for her song, All the Good Girls Go to Hell.
Now, is this song out?
Yes. It's out. It's out, yeah. So they were just shooting the music video. She's all about imagery, and this one looks pretty powerful. So she's wearing angel wings.
So like a dark angel.
Dark angel. She's lying on the ground. She's covered in what looks like tar. So this song is basically about her getting away from God and going towards like sin and Satan.
Now, friends, I'm going to stop it right there, and I want to tell you something that happened. And then we're going to get back to this TMZ correspondent. And then you're going to hear the reaction from the TMZ staff. But here's the thing. I just jumped in to re-edit this video with what you're hearing me say right now, because last night when I finished this video and I uploaded it to YouTube, it immediately, within 30 seconds of publishing, before I even made it public, I immediately got this YouTube notification via email. And it just goes to show how YouTube is set up to protect its corporate partners while victimizing the rest of us who are content creators and YouTube partners. It's a copyright content ID claim from Warner Brothers and TMZ. And because I used maybe 45 seconds of TMZ footage, which is fair use, in this more than 8-minute long video, TMZ will get all of the ad revenue. And I wanted to just explain what's happening here, because I'll bet you now that this video will get advertising, whereas none of my most recent videos or interviews get advertising. They're all immediately deemed not suitable for most advertisers by YouTube. And in this case, if you see any ads, which you probably will, all of the ad revenue will go directly to Warner Brothers. And that's how YouTube continues to stack the deck against honest, truthful content and content creators like SGT Report in favor of its corporate partners like Warner Brothers. Which is why it makes me happy to see tweets like these from our president today saying, Google really should be sued. So back to the TMZ reporter who said this song is basically about her getting away from God and going towards sin and Satan. Just guess what the response was from the rest of the TMZ staff about this music video and Billie Eilish.
So this song is basically about her getting away from God and going towards like sin and Satan.
She's genius territory.
So beyond her time.
Her song Ocean Eyes is my favorite song.
Beautiful. Her album is unbelievable.
She's extremely talented.
Yes, the spiritual warfare continues to ramp up all around us, with the blatant use of satanic imagery being heralded as groundbreaking and genius by the mainstream media and their puppets.
For a music video that looked like it was from hell. This is for her song, All the Good Girls Go to Hell.
While the evidence of pedophilia involving powerful politicians both in the United States and the UK are ignored and in fact covered up by the mainstream media, the very same media which is now dutifully reporting that the New York City medical examiner says that Jeffrey Epstein did indeed successfully hang himself and commit suicide in his jail cell on August 10th, a story no one is buying. According to a doctor and a source of mine, out of all the autopsy reports he has ever read as an expert toxicology witness, he's never read about a broken hyoid bone in a hanging suicide. Perhaps that's why Epstein's guards at the Manhattan Correctional Center are not cooperating with the Justice Department's investigation into the death of Epstein. But the Epstein story is so much bigger than just one man, because the systematic and systemic use of pedophilia and child pornography as a weapon has been fostered and mandated by the deepest shadow factions of the US and UK governments for decades. Greg Reese released a powerful video about these very facts on Sunday.
This criminal faction of our government was so interested in dissociative identity disordered persons, they knew that any child that was subjected to child pornography had to have endured trauma so horrible that they had to be suffering from that disorder. Therefore, this criminal faction of our government sanctioned this child pornography ring.
And just as they did in the UK for Jimmy Savile, Sir Edward Heath, and Prince Andrew, just to name a few, the mainstream corporate-controlled media will not only cover for Epstein by obscuring the global scope and reach of his child trafficking and pedophilia for blackmail operation, the horror media will cover for past pedophile presidents and would-be presidents as well.
It was my experience that Bill Clinton is bisexual, leaning far more towards the homosexual end. All I've ever seen him involved in was the homosexual activity, with very limited experience with him myself. Whereas my experience was much more prevalent with Hillary Clinton, because Hillary is also bisexual, leaning more towards a homosexual end, and it was she who accessed my sex programming to fulfill her perversions.
In related news about the corruption of the mainstream media, President Trump is calling out the New York Times and the rest of the mainstream fake news peddlers by tweeting on Sunday, the failing New York Times, in one of the most devastating portrayals of bad journalism in history, got caught by a leaker that they are shifting from their phony Russian collusion narrative to a racism witch hunt. Quote-unquote journalism has reached a new low in the history of our country. It is nothing more than an evil propaganda machine for the Democrat Party. The reporting is so false, biased, and evil that it has now become a very sick joke. But the public is aware. Hashtag crooked journalism. And the public is very aware. And further proof of the demonic left's new strategy was demonstrated by Bernie Sanders, who just vowed to go to war against white nationalism if he's elected. Now, one wonders why the color white is always added to the word nationalism by Democrats, thereby making it an ad hominem, as there are several million Hispanic and black nationalists who love their country and don't want to see it overrun by those who don't love it, or its constitutional foundations. Friends, it's never been more clear that the Democrat Party and their associated Mockingbird mainstream media partners have become the party, the organization of division, hate, and violence. And they want us divided by race, by religion, by culture, by class, and by political affiliation. Because divided, we are weak, whereas together, we are strong. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We, the people. Where we go one, we go all. Friends, thank you so much for watching, and for those who haven't done so already, take a bite out of Google and download the Brave browser. Not only won't it spy on you like Google's Chrome does, it's more than twice as fast as Google Chrome or Safari. Plus, you'll love the built-in ad blocker. So be brave. Download the Brave browser. I'll put the link below this video. And again, thanks for tuning in. For real news 24/7, you can always visit us at sgtreport.com, the antidote to corporate propaganda, where my latest 3 videos are always sticky posted and featured at the top of the site. Thanks for watching. God bless.
I'm inclined to think that he's more likely on an island in the Caribbean, but it's probably not one that he's used to. My guess is it's Guantanamo Bay.